Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Creators, where we are talking to Brother Abdul Qiyam Muhammad, formerly known as Brother Jesse, about tapping into your creative defenses. So, getting into that creative side and then also getting into what it's like to defend Minister Farrakhan. So, now I'll turn it over to Sister Janaya for the first portion.
Perfect. Okay, so Brother Qiyam, we asked everybody this question. So the first one is, if you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
3 words. I would say workaholic, very encouraging person, and very creative.
Well, I mean, you're on the right show then, because.
Absolutely.
But so the minister recently gave you your new name, Abdul Qiyam. Can you like talk a little bit about that experience and what that was like?
Oh, Allah. I just thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan so much for the blessing of bestowing upon me this blessed holy name. And it happened on the 28th day of Ramadan this year. We were actually on a phone conversation earlier that morning that lasted for nearly 2 hours or so. And interestingly, and this is a very, very key point for us as students, during this call, my dear sisters, he kept quizzing me on various quotes from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and himself that he has been drilling into me over and over again in phone conversations. So he would start a quote and then he would say, "Brother, have I ever told you that?" And I'll say, "Yes, sir." And he'll say, "Finish the quote." And he did it about 5 times, and he's never done that to me like that. And so at the end of the call, he said, "Brother, would you mind if I gave you a name? And do you think your mother would mind?" By that time, I'm already crying, and I'm like, I don't think neither one of us, Brother Minister, would mind. And so from that time, he told me that he would have to think on it and consult with the God, because he said he needed to think of a name that fits my character, that fits the labor of work that I've been blessed to do for him. And it was about an hour and a half later, he called me back, and I was in the store, doing the essential run, because I'm still practicing my social distancing over here. And I'm in the store line, and he calls me back. So naturally, when the message of Allah calls, you drop everything. I left the basket in the store, ran out to my car, and he got the name within an hour and a half. And when he shared with me what it means, he said, "I am a worker for the resurrector, which is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad." And that's what Abdul Qiyam is rooted in Surah 75, which is Al Qiyamah, which is the feminine expression of it, which means the resurrection. So I'm very humbled, and I'm still holding back tears right now as we speak over it, because I'm still processing it. As a great blessing from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So all praise is due to Allah.
That is such an honor. I mean, like, of course you can give me a name. I would not mind at all.
I mean, like what I was supposed to say, let me think about it, Brother Minister.
Yeah. Praise to Allah. Okay, so there's many different roles that you play. You manage the minister's social media accounts. You also have your own blog, you have YouTube, etc. So can you just talk to us about, the many different hats that you wear currently?
I thank Allah for the blessing of the minister saving me from a purposeless existence, that I would even be able to, I don't even say balance, but yet properly manage my life to be able to get the most out of all these things that I'm blessed to be a part of. One of the things that he taught me was, I went to school majoring in electrical engineering, and I did not end up getting a corporate job as an engineer at all. But it was be years later, he would ask me in a phone conversation, and he said, brother, what did you major in college? And I said, it was electrical engineering. And oh, brother minister, I didn't really get a chance to use it, that degree. And he said, oh, no, brother, you're the best engineer you could be. You engineer people. So when he said that to me some years back, it just opened my mind up to so much. And then he said, brother, now I understand why your mind works the way it does. I'm a very, a person that's very involved in organizing. That's why, Sister Janae, I love your videos you've done about how to map out your schedule and everything, because I'm just like that. I use my phone, I use my laptop with all of the apps. Nobody should be having a problem with not time management, but life management, because regardless if we procrastinate or be productive, time continues to go on. So you can't manage time. You have to manage your life. So when I hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan stating that if you don't respect time, you don't respect life, then every day that I wake up by Allah's permission, I am focused on having a respect for the time that Allah has given me again. So everything that I'm involved in, I want to put in my best. Has it been easy? Absolutely not. Do I get tired? Absolutely I do. Have I gotten frustrated at times? Sure. Got angry? Yes. But the blessing of knowing that when you have discipline in yourself, that when you're not motivated, discipline has to take over. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to getting reports to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, even if I may be tired at times, the discipline saying you got to get this to him because he wants it, you know? So it's an absolute blessing. And I encourage all of us, you know, don't feel bad if you have been gifted by a lot of talents and gifts. Some of us talk on social media like that's a curse. That's a blessing from Allah. What we have to do is what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan advises us in the Self-Improvement Study Guide, Struggle for Balance. He talked about that there's nothing perfectly round in the universe. And then he said there's such thing that you have to place what is called the fulcrum, meaning you have to place certain things in a certain position so the wobble that's in your life won't overcome you. So we have to learn to have critical focus on things that we want to get done, not overwhelm ourselves by trying to impress other people. And so me, myself, my success has been involved in, I enjoy getting things done more than I enjoy getting attention for it. And that's the reward for me, getting the work done, doing my best, and seeing the impact of it, engineering the people that are affected by it. And I thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan because with all that I have studied from college, before that, all of the things I've studied on social media, Sister Anissa, I've studied blogging for years, social media, and Twitter, Facebook, all these things. But the Supreme Wisdom lesson said, she will teach you quickly any course you may desire. That's a message of God. So Minister Farrakhan does not have to study blogging to teach Brother Abdul Qiyam how to blog better. He's done that. Right. He taught me how to tweet better, how to use Facebook better. That is my teacher. That is our teacher. So everything of success I have now is rooted in him.
Yes, sir. Praise you, sir. So, like you kind of dabbled in a lot, like you said, you went to college as an engineer student. You've also like played basketball and like everything. So like how did you, or what made you focus on what you do now? And like how can people multi-talented find something to focus on?
Man, great question. You know, so many times we're going out looking for our purpose, but we don't realize too that when you're really praying to your God and getting into your spirit of yourself and embracing your unique characteristics, and you having a growth in yourself about your love for yourself and appreciation, that while you going out looking for your purpose, you don't realize that somehow your purpose is going to find you. And that's what happened to me. I came out of Prairie View A&M University, September 11 had just happened. I didn't have no job. I had to go teach. Yes, I was a teacher for 6 years. Wow. in some of the toughest charter schools in Houston. So I have much respect for teachers. When I go and speak in the schools, I always praise the teachers because I was a teacher for 6 years. That's a struggle, man, especially in high school. And so I had all these various skill sets from speaking. I could do art, graphic design. I started teaching myself how to do websites in my free time at Prairie View. So I had all of these talents, and I did have moments like, I'm like, man, I'm all over the place. And then I have to be honest. I had the haters was saying that, you know, I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of nothing. Like, you got so many talents, brother, but what are you gonna master? But I didn't listen to them, but it did hurt me. And I said, you know what? I have to figure out what I want to focus on at a particular time that I can utilize all my skills. So I started doing motivational speaking. And as a motivational speaker, I would go into schools. I did my own flyers. I did my own filming, you know. Then I would go back and write my own blogs about myself. Then I would tweet about it. So I was using all my skills in speaking. And then somebody messed around and gave me a check to speak. I was like, y'all gonna pay me to talk? Oh yeah, I'm about to do this. So it was a gradual thing. However, though, when you're in the Nation of Islam and you realize that you have been called to a mission to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that's an even bigger mission and bigger, I don't want to say burden, but a bigger pressure on the individual and the nation, because with our skills and talent, we got to find out how we can use it to help the minister, because that's our job, right? So I had no idea that March 2011, when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan instructed me to open up his Twitter account, it began to dawn on me as the years passed that all of the things that I was doing up to that point was preparation to help him in this way. And so my purpose ultimately found me. So I didn't have to learn how to do Twitter and how to blog. And I had done public relations for council members. Many don't know that, man, since I've been in the nation, I first heard the teachers at the age of 14. Since I came in the door in processing class, all I've ever done was work. I've been trying to build myself and my skills. I have not been one of those that's just been taking up space in the mosque, man. I've been actively trying to apply this. When I was at Prairie View, lastly, I restarted the Nation of Islam Student Association there. I was trying to learn how to be a student leader at that time. I hurt a lot of people's feelings. I messed up a lot of programs. I wasted a lot of money, but I was learning because I was following the minister. So then I was still soldiering with my papers in college. Those young Muslims that came, I was there by myself for 2 years. But my junior year, when young believers finally came, they could tell you I would wake them up after we make prayer and we would go throw final call papers at the dorms. Wow. So I was always a soldier in that when the messenger of Allah called my jersey number, you know, as a Muslim player on Muhammad's team, I didn't have to get ready. Allah had already prepared me for it. But this was the thing that I've learned working with the minister and for the minister. If your love is not deep, you're not gonna last long serving the minister in close capacity, man. You gotta love him, and you cannot think that you know more than the message of Allah. You're not gonna make it. So all of that has been an ingredient to help me to prepare for this moment. And I thank Allah, and I encourage everybody, if you're frustrated right now, do what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. The thing that you love to do and the thing that you do best is more than likely what you're born to do. And when myself and Brother Linton and others before COVID-19 would go out in the streets of truth trafficking, when we would encounter young brothers and sisters in the streets, we would always ask them one question first. Have you figured out why you're on this earth? And that would immediately stop them. And that's the same question we all have to ask ourselves every day. Have you figured out why you're here on this earth? And if you haven't, we would tell them, go and take some time and write down 3 things that you love to do and what you do best, and target those for the next 3 months. And watch Allah give you the answer, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says. Wow. Praise be to Allah.
So when you were finally called to help the minister, you know, and then you saw all of your talents and everything that you had been working on all those years? Was it kind of like an aha moment, like, this is it? This is what I was meant to do?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, thank you, Allah, for confirming for me that I wasn't crazy. You know, I don't want to talk like some kind of social media old head or something, but when I started blogging in 2007, some of my fellow believers in the nation were straight up telling me, that's all well and good, brother, but we can't fish with no blogs. You know, Twitter is fine, sir. What's tweet? We don't know what that is, but we can't build no nation with that. You know, when I joined Facebook back in 2008, I think it was, or 9, you know, they was like, Facebook. Believers didn't know what Facebook was. So I'm in my FOI class at the mosque meet. I done won blog of the year. They don't even know what a blog is. So I took a lot of criticism. Like, what is that? You know, you wasting your time. But I didn't let them stop me. Man, I would study all of the top white bloggers around the world that were making 6 figures, figuring out how they would do it. I learned how to do live blogging. And then in 2009, Minister Farrakhan said at Savior's Day that we all should study President Obama's campaign. I don't know how many other people did it, but I did, because that man set a new precedence by using social media to raise funds. So who would have thought that years later, the same models that I studied of President Obama's campaign and others and my own skill set would help to serve to help the minister to reach the world around social media. Plus, we utilize those tactics of the Farrakhan Twitter army that set the stage for 10-10-15. This is not stuff that just happened overnight. So when 10-10-15 was being mobilized and we were sitting at the table, people was throwing all these ideas at the meeting. And I'm sitting in my head like, we already got that in place. So with Justice or Else, I want everybody to know, and you all contributed to it, we didn't have to get ready because we had already stayed ready. And we just plugged it into a system that we already had set up by Allah's permission. So back and study, because I'm having aha moments all the time. Just like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he has them with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said that he's dropped so much on him that it takes circumstances and events to bring it back up so the minister have his aha moments on the divine level. So I'm pretty sure y'all have aha moments too now. And aha moments did not start with Oprah Winfrey. Sorry to tell people. People been having those before Oprah. We love Oprah though.
Yes, sir. Your connection had cut off briefly.
Okay.
So if you heard us speaking, that's why, because we couldn't hear you for a minute, but you pulled back in though.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you talked a little bit about, you know, your artistic side, and also, you know, you said that you were very creative. So I feel like a lot of people don't know that, you know, you do photography, poetry, things like that. So can you talk a little bit about that creative side of yourself and, you know, the different artwork that you do?
Yes, ma'am. So from my blessed mother, I was blessed to be bestowed with the gift of drawing, and I've been drawing since I came out the womb. You know, that's a little exaggeration. But I competed in my first art competition in the 1st grade, and I won the Houston Rodeo art competition in the 1st grade when I was at Farmwood. And so everywhere my mother worked, she always, you know, brought paper, white reams of white paper home for me, because I was always drawing everything. Any cartoon I watched, I would draw it. Any superhero cartoons I watched, I drew it. Any of my favorite athletes, you know, I always drew them. So I was drawing all the time. And so when I got to Prairie View, I actually, as I've always told people when I speak in the high schools, I went to school and majored in something that I didn't want to. I wanted to be an internationally known artist. That's what I wanted to do. But my senior year in high school, I made the decision that I had to drop my art class with my beloved teacher, Miss R, who I'm still in contact with. I had to decide to drop her class and take engineering advanced placement class in high school, because they said I couldn't do both at the same time. So I didn't want to do it, but I got peer pressured into it. And plus, you know, when your grandmother tell you to do something, hey, you ain't gonna fight granny.
Right.
So I went to school at Prairie View, majoring in engineering, but I said I wanted to do my art. So I had already got in contact with the teachings already in the 9th grade. So do for self was always in my mind. So I went to Prairie View with the mind saying my goal was not to work for somebody, even though I wanted to get a job. So I started making my own flyers. Back then, I forgot the name of that. It wasn't Photoshop back then. It was Print Shop, I think, a throwback. But I started making flyers, advertising people. Did they want me to draw pictures for them? I started advertising to the sororities and fraternities that I could do their big banners and backdrops for their pageants. And I started painting and making money. Then I started setting up shop in Alumni Hall where we would eat lunch and dinner. I started doing caricatures of people where I would set up my pad and everything and draw people, make a little $10. So I was still using my art. And then every semester I did an art exhibit in the John B. Coleman Library at Prairie View. So I sold a lot of pieces to a lot of people. A lot of visitors on the campus came during homecoming. So I loved it and enjoyed it. Now, the mistake I made was once I got into graphic design, and started learning how to make logos and websites and everything, then I put down my pencil and I started picking up more of my laptop and my computers. And so over the years, I just kind of just stopped doing it too. But my first Savior's Day, 98, I actually took a suitcase, a briefcase full of my artwork and prints and sold them at Savior's Day and sold out. And believers in Houston didn't even know I could draw. So that creative side of me has just been from birth, you know. And the poetry side, now I got inspired at Prairie View again. There's a college professor, art teacher named Miss Johnson. We call her Soul Sister because it's S-O-L-E because she can paint with her feet.
Wow.
I ain't never seen her paint with her baby toes, Sister Anissa. I'm talking about put the thing in between her toes and can paint with her feet. So she's a soul sister. Well, she heard me speaking before, you know, in the nation. We can rap now. You know, Brother Nuri is one of those I think still should have a record deal because the brother, he got one line for days. So she heard me speak at an event and she said, I think you're a poet. And she gave me my first poetry book in 97, which I still have. And so I helped start a poetry club at Prairie View, you know, like the movie, what's it called? Love Jones? Where they going and they snapping their pic. Oh yeah, we had that with the candles and everything at Prairie View. I had a book club, all of that. So I love my Black college experience. And so over time, many have encouraged me to put my artwork, pick it back up. It just haven't happened, but I'm blessed to tell you now, my daughter Kalima, oh my God, she got it. She's way more advanced than I am at the age of 14. She's painting and drawing up a storm, been selling her pieces as well. And she's been on me definitely to get back to it. So I thank the Lord for that side of me, you know, that creative side, because with artwork too, no matter if it's graphics, putting a report together, when I do reports for the minister, it never looks the same. I always have to do a certain cover, style, creativity. So that creativity of me is born out of love. And so I enjoy it. And that's why I admire what you all are doing. When I saw you all launch this, you know, Joshua's Truth, and just looking at the color scheme that y'all use and the logo and the content and the way you put it out, I just enjoy it because I love seeing new things coming out, you know. I love seeing the beauty of people's minds manifesting as well. So that's part of why I have no problem applauding, supporting, and pushing and endorsing anything of good everybody is doing, particularly in the nation, because I'm a lover of creativity and I'm a lover of people manifesting their ideas and thoughts. So I gotta get back to that drawing real soon. Praise be to Allah.
Because I would like to see some of your artwork.
I got them with me, but am I allowed to get off camera and bring them on? No.
I mean,
No.
yeah.
But I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but can you go a little bit more in depth on using your creative side to defend the minister?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's all about strategy. You know, Minister Farrakhan is an artist. You know, he has a musical background, right? Which has given him, as he has told us, a universal heart. And he's been gifted with the gift of being able to see the big picture. So with an artist, you're able to see the finished product before you start, you see? Brother Jabril, our beloved brother, dear brother, that helped to groom me and so many of us to know better of the divinity of the minister and to grow in love with him even more through his writings of Farrakhan the Traveler. He wrote, as I was beginning to do photography, he wrote a quote of how he was actually shooting a lion that he wanted to capture. And I think it took him all day to catch the lion at a certain point with his eyes up while he was drinking the water. But he talked about how you should see the picture before it happens. You should see the picture before it happens. So now imagine me now being blessed to travel with the minister and taking pictures just with my phone. People thought that I was carrying some big camera on my hip, but it was just my phone. But it ain't about the device. It's about the creative eye to see the picture before it happens, particularly if you're paying attention to a man that you love, like the minister. So in my creativity, in my artwork, I have been striving to learn from the minister to see the headlines before the headlines, to defend him before he needs defending. Hope y'all got me on that. So sometimes we wait for the enemy to attack, not knowing the value of getting ahead of the attack to help the earth swallow it up. So every single day, I'm studying, I'm looking and searching his name on social media. I'm seeing the good and the negative that's being said about him. I'm watching patterns. I'm watching the ebb and flow of things. See, right now, as you and I, we're conversating right now, the enemy been throwing flurries of punches since July the 4th. I mean, they've been throwing the kitchen sink. Something happened that caused them last week to do a 48-hour Twitter walkout. What made those imposters do that when they control things that happen in Silicon Valley? The minister's enemies, they have offices in Silicon Valley. So I'm studying them. Now they're quiet. Well, while they're quiet, that gives us an opportunity to defend by being on the offense. So if they walked out, we walked in. You see, that's what the minister has taught me. You have to study. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us the operations of the white man. I don't know why we just think that operations mean read a book about how they started a business from the age of 15. That ain't all the operations of the white man. Mm-hmm. The white man, he said, we war not against flesh and blood, right? But principalities and powers and the rulers of the wickedness of darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places. So we got to observe the operations of his thought process too when we defending the minister. That way, we won't just get caught up in the moments of emotions. You know, I shared with some of the young sisters here recently, they was asking me about certain celebrities that's being attacked and being challenged and being, you know, these type of things since July the 4th. I told them, I said, look, if you get worn out right now, you're not gonna make it. This thing is about to continue to escalate, so we can't get caught up in the emotion of the moment. But like an artist, we gotta see the bigger picture. Be a scientist. See, we talk about how, and I know our time is closing, but we talk about how the scientists write the history in advance, but I always remind us as students, don't skip the other process. He said that first, they go out and poll the minds of the people. They taking a poll, they studying the thoughts, then they magnify that by 10 in the mind, then they go. Why poll the minds of the people? Because that gives you a better picture of what you want to put in motion that can mirror what you see already down the line. Mm-hmm. See, that's scientists and gods. That's how we work too. So with me, Defending the minister is a joy, because I know when I defend him, I'm defending the whole of the righteous of humanity, and I enjoy it. I love being blocked by all these imposters. Some of them still got me blocked. Like 2 years later, I call it a victory. So I encourage us all with all our platforms, be on the offense and defense. It's very important because your digital footprint is being recorded. And wouldn't you want it to be written thousands of years later that on your digital footprint, you stood with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? I know I do.
Crazy.
Y'all gotta excuse me now. You know, I haven't done a lot of interviews since shelter in place. To be honest with you, I've been in my chamber studying everything, so y'all just gotta excuse me. I got a lot in me.
Yes, good. So, want to hear all of it, trust us. Brother Qiyam, everything that you do pretty much is really like centered around pushing the teachings or defending the minister, like whether it's through your YouTube channel or your blog, through social media. So do you have any advice for young people who may want to kind of build their career and their life around the same mission, if that makes sense?
Yes, you know, I could not think of any better way to build up your life than to have it centered around the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's the way I'm wired, in that this man has given us from God in person the root of everything in the universe. So no matter what you're studying, whether it's psychology, engineering, science, biology, you are a writer. If you come this way to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad through Minister Farrakhan, you will get the answer of how you can properly use your life, not to find a career, but to find divine purpose. And when I'm speaking in schools, that's what I let them know. This is not about a generation trying to get a job or trying to just build a career by their standards. This is about finding your divine purpose. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has shown countless times with us around the world that just by him standing on the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, look at how he has been received around the world. Look at the gifts that has been bestowed upon him. Look at all of the blessings, you know, that he has. So I would encourage, first, you got to study the word. And I'm always constantly finding new things inside of the teachings to help me navigate these changing times. Like right now, no matter how great you are in entrepreneurship, everybody's being affected by the coronavirus. Everybody's business, your household, your family. Everybody had 2020 goals. This was their year. Yeah, now some people eight months later, like, well, maybe 2021. You know, because maybe God didn't want it like that. So it's like the God put a pestilence on all of us that now we have to learn how to pivot. Yeah. But for me, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told Minister Farrakhan, brother, when you get in trouble, don't nurse your Facebook status. He didn't say nurse your blog or nurse your tweets. He said nurse your Holy Quran, like the baby nurses on the bottle. So in this time, if we're gonna be navigating, trying to find divine purpose and stay the course in it, we have to feed on that which is of high divine revelation. So me, I'm wired with, it's just automatic. I don't even have to think about it. It's to the point now on social media, people have known me for years. I don't allow cursing, don't come on my pages with nothing degrading, except for the imposters, you know, when they're attacking, that's when they insane anyway. But people that have known me for years and how I represent on my blog and on my pages and what I put out, they already know, hey, Brother Jesse is about the nation of, excuse me, brother. Now I'm calling myself Brother Jesse. Brother Qiyam is about the nation. He's about the minister. And even my family and friends over the years have quietly grown to respect that, because why? They see the results of what the nation has done for me and is doing for me. So I'll say, if you're in the nation, don't be shy about it at all. Doors have opened up for me, and I'm telling you all right now, blessings have been bestowed upon me and my family during this time of trial based upon using the skills and teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in doing business. because keeping a spiritual outlook on things and maintaining spiritual clarity will help you really, really be great, be successful. So I believe that we all have to grow to be how the minister is, that at every turn, we should be pulling from something that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said or wrote. We should be pulling from a lecture from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Not just a small clip, but pulling out full lectures and going through them, parsing them, writing down notes and things, because the minister, there's nothing. If you go to store.finalcall.com, for those that's going to watch this, there's not one subject matter you can name that Minister Farrakhan hasn't talked about it. Not one. So that's for me. I'm just wired. I'm automatic with it. And just with my YouTube channel, I'll give this last example on how to follow the minister's example and guidance. Last year, you know, when the minister spoke July 21st, 2019, he talked about Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein, you know, those satanic Jews and what they've been doing. So I hadn't been using my YouTube channel. I only had a couple thousand last July. And so I said, you know what? I don't care if they shut me down. They done took the minister off Instagram and Facebook. They done froze his Twitter account. I'm going to put this clip out about Epstein. Man, YouTube took that thing down in 2 minutes, gave me a strike on my YouTube channel, and here I was. See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to get y'all to shut me down. And I told him, I got a blessed call from the minister a couple days later. Here I am as a student. Brother minister, YouTube blocked me. They took me down. They couldn't handle that truth, and they gave me a strike. And I was like, if they give me 2 strikes, that means they shut me down. That'll be a victory. Here come the teacher. He said, you know, brother, my mother told me, if you want to climb a mountain, son, you can't use a racehorse. You got to use a sleuth-foot donkey to get up the mountain. He said the objective is to get where you need to go and achieve the objective. He said, you got the lesson? I said, I think so. I ain't trying to tell you, yes, sir. I'm trying to think. He said, brother, haven't we already proven that we can be fierce and strong with the truth? He said, what's wrong with using strategy? Wow. Strategy. Where you can still get the strong truth out, but yet you're able to navigate the landmines of the enemy. He said, you got the lesson? I don't think so, brother, miss. I'm going to think on it, sir, and I think it's going to hit me. I've been one of those, too. I ain't been ready to tell the minister, yes, sir, man, please. No, I don't know. So he said, brother, you always been strong with the truth. He said, certain time periods call for certain tactics, but don't confuse tactics with mission. Woo! Now, look, a year later, I'm 34,000 subscribers. Wow. Going near 6 million views. I didn't even have 1 million views last July at all. I kept thinking on what he said, and I said, oh, okay. Wow, yeah, that's what he meant. And now I'm on a sleuth-foot donkey, going up the YouTube mountain, achieving the mission of getting the word to the people all around the world. That does not mean that anybody else got shut down, that they did something wrong. No, not that. But the point was that things are constantly moving and changing, and the minister sees the headline before the headline. So what he was saying was, brother, why would you get a channel shut down when I need that channel? Wow. So that's the beauty of pulling from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, pulling from the minister. They know better than we do. And I am happy to tell people that Brother Abdul Qiyam don't know nothing but what that man says. And I'm telling you all, it has worked.
Yes, sir. Praise God. So there might be like some young people listening, or I mean even older people with a young spirit that wants to learn how to
get us in trouble now.
Yes,
who old in the nation? Old people, not just like.
Yes, sir. But there might be people watching that might not know how to defend the minister, and they want to like learn more. So like, what are some of those challenges you've seen among young people and older people, I guess? who may
Man,
have may be having like a hard time to defend the minister. Like how can they figure out how to take part in this defense?
oh yes. Number one, you got to strengthen yourself by studying, you know. And when you strengthen yourself in study, it will help to eradicate your fear of defending the minister. Many of us now, years later, after all these years of us tweeting, we Farrakhan Twitter army, of course, which has expanded to all platforms. But since the time of what must be done, we've been getting attacked all the time. And many have become very strong, but there was many who was not involved in the Twitter army, which the minister saw as training ground, not just for the younger ones, but for student ministers as well, for us to get our strength up for this big fight that we in right now. See, the Twitter army is not just something that just dealt with Twitter, brothers and sisters that are watching. You got to see the divinity behind it because it came from the mind of the minister. I know people like to call me all these titles and all that. No, the Twitter army came from the minister, you know? So in it, it was preparing those of us that were actively involved to know how to defend and not be afraid to make a mistake. I want the young believers to know, look, I have made plenty of mistakes. I have received plenty of love and rebuke from the minister. Trust and believe. So you're gonna make mistakes. And the minister told me this before. He said, the only way you make a mistake is by doing nothing. And doing nothing is the biggest mistake you'll ever make.
Wow.
So you're not helping us by being scared on the sidelines. And we see you just clicking like on everybody else that may be defending, but you never jump in the fray of the fight. You don't think we see you? We see you. But strengthen yourself through study. Feed on the word. And this is another thing, Sister Anissa, that we have been armed with in the Twitter army. It's 3 beautiful words that I love to use. Copy and paste.
Right.
Hey, man. You ain't got to think of nothing. Go to finalcard.com, search what they said. I promise you the ministers already responded. Brother Abdul Qiyam uses copy and paste. I ain't got to go back and forth with you, man. And it's some people, Sister Janelle, we got to be honest. They ain't even intelligent to go beyond the first response we give them. So we ain't got to get emotional and start cussing them out. Just copy and paste, click the link on YouTube and be done with it. That gives you strength. So strengthen through study. 2, copy and paste. And number 3, do not think that the whole world hates the minister. Take the time. This is why when you go to my YouTube channel, go to Mars 46, go to Brother Troy's, go to Brother Ben. Search the minister's name on Twitter. Search his tag on Instagram. Look at all of the love that's being shown to the minister. You all should go to the Mars 46 YouTube channel and watch the interview the minister did with Don Lemon from 2007 that Brother Student Minister Willie put up that has over 500,000 views now. The minister told me in a phone call recently that he went back and watched it for the first time ever. That was in 2007. And he said the way he answered those questions then is a class for us to respond to the things that are going on right now. So that means the minister is letting you know, I already gave you the alley-oop, just dump the ball, man. Get out the bubble and dump the ball. And so he has given us all the answers and the responses. So me, only time I get nervous is if this ain't the Brother Qiyam part. If that Brother Jesse about to come out and say what he thinks, then that's when I start getting nervous. Because it be some people I want to tell where to go, what they can do with it, and get off my page. But I can't do that. So what saves me and saves all of us is stay in line with what he said. But the first key is you got to be strong in your studies. And this too, look, I know a lot of people that reach out to me, Brother Qiyam, you got to do seminars, you got to do workshop, you got to do this, you got to do training. I like, you're right. But underneath that, my thought is always this. Man, I toured almost 70 cities with the first Twitter book tour.
Wow.
We trained all the way from the headquarters all the way to the smallest study groups back in 2014. Just as else, I don't know how many conference calls we did, seminars, just as else, before and after trainings. We was under that tent working. 2000, we've been training. I did 2 workshops last year. My question to you is, at what point will your love drive you just to step up and jump in the fight? Is it really that you need training, or that you just lack the love for the minister? That's the question we really, really have to ask, because people might say, well, just because I don't defend the minister on Twitter, I don't love him. Wait a minute now. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told his laborers, he said, if you wait for me to defend myself, you no good to me. So all of us should have on our record that we stood up for the minister publicly at some point. You know, where some brothers, here go the last one, you know, I love it though. I love brothers, young brothers and sisters. But the language of saying the best defense is results. The minister doesn't say that. When the minister's asking me questions, he ain't saying how much money you got in your bank account. He ain't asking me about how many cars you got in your driveway or your homes. And he wants all that for us because the God promises. He's asking me specifically, how's the Twitter army doing? What's their spirit like? And I send him feedback and screenshots of defense, so he sees who's doing it and who's not. So the minister ain't saying, oh, if they just build a business, that's the best defense. No, he not. He want to see who is getting in that fight and throwing some digital hands. Well, too. And so my last point to it is that the offensive side, Sister Anissa, while they're attacking us, inside the attacks, we got to find the people that are interested in the teachings. It's people out there that genuinely want to know. So if they want to read more, why are we not sending them to Joshua's Truth with this article? You know, or sending them to this YouTube video, sending them to NOI.org, inviting them to the webcast. I've given out, I don't know how many, with the backing of so many blessed sponsors around the country. We have probably given away so many of these of the Teachers 2.0, sending them to people around the country during this COVID, because we can't go on the streets, but the truth trafficking don't stop. So all that to say, we have to seek and resurrect while we defend it. We got to seek and resurrect, and if we do those things, we'll be strong. But make sure your love is up, because the love is going to be tested today. And when it becomes the time, Sister Nair, that all of us with our careers, we don't think that at some point in time, they're going to be finding out, if they don't already know where we work at, they go approach us. Are you with the minister? Okay. And depending on how you answer this question, you get to keep your job. Well, hold on. I saw you on Facebook. You posted that clip of him from July the 4th.
Right.
Then what you gonna try to do, delete it? You're gonna be tested, you know? So praise be to Allah. May Allah bless us to get strong. But I will continue to always teach, train, and help and everything like that. But at some point in time, your love got to compel you to just jump in the fray and let the chips fall where they may.
Yes, sir.
And
what are some of the challenges that you faced, you know, during this journey in the nation and coming into your purpose, etc.? What are some of the things that you've had to overcome?
I had to first overcome the voices of other people who have sowed seeds of doubt. That when I got down on myself at times, even though I said to myself, I didn't listen to them, but a lot of times it get inserted in the subconscious, and that's why Study Guide 18 is so valuable, because in a moment of your down period, you start watering the seeds of doubt that other people put on you. So I've been questioned a lot. Like, people been making it seem like me serving the minister in this capacity is like I don't have a job or something, because I'm not going and clocking in. Or that somehow that I'm not some real man or something. It's just been a lot of crazy stuff. Or that I really haven't achieved much because I'm just this bow tie brother, and that they still see me on the corner like I'm too big to be on the corner with the final call paper and all these things from family, friends, and then, you know, inside the nation, it's not easy at all. Brothers and sisters, that's why I don't give 2 cents for the people who like to critique the nation when most of them ain't never dedicated their life to being under nobody's charge. They don't take orders from nobody, so you don't even know what it feels like to be in a military structure. Then you need to just shut your mouth. I can't pay attention to you because you don't know what it feels like to even take orders from another black person. And then some of us think we know better than the lieutenant, better than the captain because our education. So the nation is not easy. But I tell people all day long, I take the nation on our worst day more than any other organization on their best, because the nation is what has shaped me. So it's been the trials of just trying to find my place in the nation. As I shared earlier, with so many skills that I had, everybody doesn't know how to handle the talents and gifts that the minister has attracted to the nation. And there were many times where I felt like, you know, like in football, I felt like somebody was asking me to play center or nose guard when I knew I was a wide receiver that can catch long passes. And I felt that I was being put in this box, and I never wanted to just be confined to the 4 walls of the mosque, even though I was a person that loved to be at the mosque meetings and was at all the meetings and was in the ministry class, which helped groom and shape me big time here in Houston. However, I knew that I just wanted to do more in helping, you know, the minister. So those were the trials of killing the voices in my own head. And I have to be very honest with you all that during this time of shelter in place, I've attacked even more voices, because serving this capacity with the minister, I've done a lot of traveling, haven't been home a whole lot, haven't been really stationary to do a whole lot of reflection like I have now, and realized that it was some of those Loch Ness monsters that the minister talked about in the study guide started coming up from the depths of me that I had to attack and eradicate too. So let Elijah work on you. He's the doctor. These teachings have healing power, you know, for us. And the minister's words is healing for us. So that's been my trials, and I'm still going through it. And I would say to the young believers that I know what it feels like to deal with being blocked, the hate, people feeling insecure. Even if you ain't really grown into your full potential, just because you're a young person, you show up, they insecure. It's like, what is it? I'm just not even saying anything, but they know the potential. And they know they can see the minister being reflected in you, and they see the mind. Plus, the minister said people fear what they don't understand. This is a new generation of things that's happening. And it's so fast paced, they're so intimidated at times that their insecurity make them lash out unjustly at young people, so they start blocking. And some of them blocking when they don't even know they blocking. I know how that feels. I do. But I have to tell you now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has allowed me to be in situations where I had to take the heat. Because you got to be tested. You can't serve the minister in close proximity by Allah's permission like this, and the message of Allah don't test you. So as young people, that you got to be tested. At the same time, you can't let people stop you. And if people are allowed to paralyze you, Minister Farrakhan told me this: if you allow people to stop you from utilizing your gifts to help your nation, he said, you're not worthy of the gifts that God gave you, because it's from him. So you got to seek him for the power to overcome all of the obstacles that's in your path to help our nation. But I'm letting you all know, I understand. I've been there and I'm still there. I still have people now. You all call me uncle, but imagine a lot of the meetings that I'm in the nation, I'm looked at as a young person that still got to pay his dues. So, yeah. Now, I ain't calling them uncle, because that ain't me. I'm like, man, I'm a grown man. I'm married. I got children. You ain't uncle to me. I call the minister father. But I still have to deal with those things. And the minister has coached me and guided me on it. He's corrected me on things, because sometimes, you know, things just come out. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm tired of it. Everybody have that, you know, too. So praise be to Allah. To still be here and still going, hey, you got to let the doubters know. You know, Brother Jay-Z says it like this. It's not the negative side of the ego. He says, sometimes you need your ego. You got to show these fools. Mm-hmm. People that's watching, don't get spooky now. Yes, I listen to Jay-Z. But the message, the bad thing is the inordinate ego, where it's out of control, but naturally we all have an ego, right? According to the study guide. So it's at a certain point too, you gotta say to yourself, I'm not letting you stop me. I wanna do a magazine, I wanna do a website, I wanna do a YouTube channel, this, that, and other. I can't let you or the voice that's in my head from you stop me. I gotta show myself that I can do this. So that's why the minister lastly told us in a meeting in June, he said, why are you trying to prove yourself to somebody else when you're already approved by God? So he said, stop doing things for approval, do things for the advancement of the cause. Mm-hmm. Praise be to Allah.
To Allah. But winding down now, I know you're involved in a lot, and it's like almost every year you release something new. So we want to know, like, what's next for you?
Yes, that's a great question. So I was blessed to finally launch the Teachers 2.0 podcast. All praise is due to Allah. That has been 2 years in the making. A lot of trials, but thank Allah. With the minister's guidance and the blessing of him allowing me to use the trumpet in the logo that was done by Brother Jalil in Detroit, and to have a beloved brother, Brother Jamal, aka Brother Jay DeLay, as the producer. I'm very excited about that podcast. The minister listened to the first 3 episodes and have loved them, and he also gave us guidance on things that he wanted us to insert in episode 3, and we did it as he told us, and he loved it. So to have the minister listening to the podcast, hey, look, hey, what more could I ask? So there's so much by the grace of Allah that we have lined up, because the minister has given us digital rivers of wine that I will never run out of, Sister Nay. I will never run out of anything to say on the podcast. I can just read these to y'all every episode. But he has given so much. Plus, I have all of the archives of every question the minister's ever answered. All of the clips that were on his YouTube, his Facebook and Instagram page, I have all those saved and backed up. So we have so much that we're looking forward to sharing on the podcast as well. And we're just waiting for his approval too for volume 3 of the Teach 2.0, which is done. Volume 4 is almost done as well. That's been the blessing of this Corona. I ain't been traveling, so I've had time to get these Twitter books done, these hadiths put together. So Allah willing, volumes 3 and 4 will be done, very, very soon by his permission. And then there's some other things in terms of my own, as you've been talking about me doing trainings and things like that over the years. I've done so many classes on so many topics and things, and I've had so many things I've trained people on, from doing press releases all the way to how to do press conferences. I have the journalistic background with the Final Call. That I didn't go to school for that. That was again a divine calling, but I learned so much just from how to do investigative reporting, and things like that as well, and so many cover stories and breaking the news. So there's a lot in terms of a digital academy. The logo, the site, everything has already been set. Just has to build that up, as well. And there's a personal book that I've been sitting on for a while that I've been working on since shelter in place and finishing up. And that's the story of how I found out the truth of who my real biological father is. I went on that journey back in 2009 because I found out from my mother that at that time, she actually was in between relationships. So in truth, she later told me after college that she really didn't know who my father was. So as a gift to myself in 2009 on my birthday anniversary, I went on that journey, made it publicly, and found the man who was alive that I thought was my father. And we took a DNA test, and I found out he wasn't my father. So when I found out the news that my father was actually the one that was killed when I was 10 years old, I went on a further journey, and found my 2 uncles, his brothers, and my aunt, his sister. And so I've been sitting on that book, But again, that journey was joy, but it also turned into a lot of pain, you know, as well. So it made me, Sister Nell, just put that book to the side because it was so painful of the experience. However, doing as the minister told us in our chamber, getting closer to our Creator has caused me to address those things that now I have a renewed energy and spirit and purpose by which I need to put that book out. So Allah willing, in search of my Father, you can do it too, will be coming out real soon. So that is among many, many other things, and that ain't including all the other 101 things the minister want me to do. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Wow, that's so exciting. Well, we can't wait for everything that you have coming out, inshallah. And thank you so much for your time and taking the time to speak with us and sharing as much as you've shared, and also for your continued support. We definitely appreciate everything that you've helped us to do and for taking the time to speak with us.
Praise be to Allah. My honor. I am exceedingly proud of you all. I want you all to know that those that have been inspired in some way in the nation to do things like you all are doing, I have been telling on you all to the minister more than you may know. I am always sharing good news with the minister. And when you all first launched Joshua's Truth, I wrote him about it, you know, just to let him know. I said, look, here's some more young believers that's doing this, because he always wants to see the examples of what the believers are doing with the word that he speaks. Because the scripture said, cast your bread upon the waters, and soon you will see it coming back to you. So the minister has given us the bread of life, and he has cast it upon the waters, our minds and our hearts. And now he's seeing it come back to him in the form of Joshua's Truth. That gives the minister joy. So I want to encourage you all, don't stop. Continue to increase. Every idea that you have, just unload and unleash. Don't hold back at all, because if you said 2020 was your year, it still is, because it's Allah's year. And as long as we're in line with Allah's heart and thinking for what we're doing, then it's going to always remain our year, as long as we're in line with him. So I'm proud of you all. I pray Allah continues to bless you all. And I look forward to more and more what Joshua Truth has in store and what you all are releasing. And you all always have my support as well. And I want to encourage every single person that's watching this, follow them on social media, reshare all of the content. And if they have any vehicle by which you can make a donation, I'm asking you right now to make a donation to Joshua's Truth, because it also takes the financial backing to build and expand certain ideas. And I know these young, beautiful sisters have so much in mind. So send your financial donations as well, along with those clicks, likes, and reshares, because wow, we don't just need truth. We need Joshua's truth, because we're striving to follow the Joshua that's in our midst, which is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you all.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.